the last 2 days of closing Women's History Month, and we are here with the beautiful Eliza Boyce, or Sophie Boyce. Welcome to the Dollhouse.
Thank you so much. It's really good to be here. And you are looking beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. You too. It's such a pleasure to have you here.
Awesome. No, it's so good to be here. Thank you for inviting me on the show.
You are so welcome. So, before we kick off this interview, how has 2026 been for you thus far? And how has, because March, you guys know, is International Women's History Month, celebrating us, our accomplishments. How has Women's History Month been for you thus far? You're in the UK and I'm in the United States, South
hmm
Carolina down here. So, how has 2026 been for you thus far and Women's History Month overall?
So this year's actually been pretty good. Um, I've got the film coming out, which is really exciting, and I got a new job. I moved house. So lots of kind of new exciting things happening. And I think, yeah, International and like Women's Month, it's been great. So especially at my work, we've been doing something called Wave, which is like a women's empowering month where there's lots of different events. We get speakers, and yeah, it's just great. And I feel like I've got amazing kind of girlfriends surrounding me, lots of supportive people, amazing women in my family, my mum, my nan. So yeah, I feel very fortunate. And yeah, 2026 is great. What about you? How's your 2026?
Oh my God, girl, it's been amazing. Like, I hit a huge milestone, 1,000 interviews and counting. And it is so much more coming in the horizon for me. Shout outs to my brother K Tukes, who predicted that it would happen. I see you, Chef Sky. Hey, girl, who also predicted that it would happen. And to be here now, going strong with more great interviews yourself. And speaking of amazing women, a very special shout outs to Mickey Solar for conducting this interview. She told me so much about you. And
Oh,
that's how we came to know each other, just off of having a conversation and setting up this conversation here. So thank you to Mickey. But overall, 2026 has been fabulous for me thus far. It's been a balance. And for us as women, being in the business is all about balance. So
yeah,
absolutely. But I can't complain. It's been amazing.
good. Glad to hear that.
Yes, yes, yes. So, as we're talking about all things women, I'm
hmm
curious to know, Eliza, who have been some of, you said your mom is one, but on the entertainment side, who've been some of the women that you've idolized, looking up to, your top five? If you had to do a Mount Rushmore, I know it's only four on the Mount Rushmore, but if you had to do a like Mount Rushmore that would include five
hmm
women, who would these five women that inspired you growing up be?
Okay, that's a really good question. So there's been lots of amazing women, but I think in terms of the entertainment industry, in no order, I think they're all great. But the first one that stuck out for me, and she's called Sydney Cummings, and she is she does fitness YouTube that people can watch and dial into for completely free. And I discovered her during COVID when I couldn't leave my flat. I was living in Singapore at the time, so it was very, very strict. Literally couldn't leave the flat. Um, and she's got a very inspiring story. So her brother sadly passed away in a car crash, and so she decided to create these YouTube videos, this YouTube channel that anyone can join, and it's for free. And she always has like amazing quotes saying, be really fortunate that you can like move your body today, and like you're surrounded by amazing people, and like not everyone's as fortunate as you. And yeah, she's very inspiring. So definitely Sydney Cummings is one of them. And then secondly, so it's got to be Oprah. Like she's just fab. And I think when you hear about her kind of background and childhood, like she shows such resilience. And I think what she does is very special, that people look up to her and she lets underrepresented voices be heard. So yeah, she's just great. She's fab. I feel like everyone loves her. So she's definitely up there. And then we've got Jodie Comer. So from the acting perspective, She's like I'm
Oh,
fangirl for her. She is fab. So I've always loved Jodie because she's so versatile in her roles. Like she's never had any formal training, and yet she's probably one of the best actresses out there. She can be put in any role. So Killing Eve, where she's a bit more spicy. Um, then she's been in Prima Facie. That's the other one where she's the lawyer and talks about like abuse in the system and things like that. And she's just fab. Like she's just such a talented actress, and I would aspire to be like her. So yeah, love her. Zendaya, child star, superhero in the acting world. And she also promotes, I think, really good values as well. She is into like sustainable fashion. She actually stopped. So there was a magazine that basically like edited her figure and her body, and so she shouted back at them and put a big message up and saying you shouldn't do that. That's like body shaming people. Like if my body's not perfect as it is, then I don't want to be in your magazine. I thought that was really good, especially because a lot of younger females probably look up to her. And if her body looks completely perfect and that's not the reality, everyone's body is perfect, doesn't need to be edited to whatever they think perfect is. I think that's really good message for like younger, especially younger people. Um, and then the final one. So I always pronounce her name wrong, but Hunter Schafer. Schafer. So she's another actress, and I love her because she is just completely fearless and she's interesting. So I feel like in my life at the moment, I have acting, which is my passion and my love and what I want my career to be. Obviously, juggling that, I have to have a day job. And so, it's that battle of like proving your self worth and feeling self assured and also pursuing your like dream. So, Hunter was involved with like this massive lawsuit case to do with bathrooms and like gender. And she's just incredible. And then she, goes ahead, pursues fashion as well and acting. And she's brilliant at everything. And she's unapologetic. She will do what she wants and she says what she wants and she will act how she wants. And yeah, I just think that's very inspiring for females. Like it's the way you gotta believe in yourself. Like, yeah. So they're probably the five, but there's many more.
oh, Fab Five, Fab Five, and you named Zendaya and Hunter Schafer, and they're both very stylish and fashion forward. With my platform being a fashion platform, an entertainment platform, Zendaya has always topped the best dress list. There's never a moment where she disappoints. Whenever she gets on a red carpet, it's always about her pushing the envelope. And my top five, I'm going to give my top five
Yeah, go.
women on the Mount Rushmore. The first one that I would start out with, I'm gonna go way, way back in time, and I am going to say Veronica Lake.
Mhm.
Um, I kind of wore my hair similar to hers a few weeks back, where because Veronica Lake was always notorious. It was something mysterious about her.
Mhm.
Um, Number two would be Lucille Ball.
Mhm.
I love Lucy, and Lucy's quirky and funny, and I'm quirky and funny. And not only that, but she was also fashion forward. She was
Mhm.
ahead of her time. Number three, I would say, would be Viola Davis because she's from my hometown of South Carolina.
Yeah.
Another fashion forward woman.
Mhm.
Number four, I would say, would be someone who's daring. She's got to be gutsy. I would say Madonna. Madonna,
Oh yeah,
the
for sure.
performer, and she's also an actress. I
Mhm.
mean, she always pushes the envelope in her
Mhm.
every concert, all the way back to Blonde Ambition. She's always pushed the envelope. Number five for me. Ooh, number five. I'm going to go with. hmm, she was an actress too. She did Mad Max. I'm going to go with Tina Turner. Gutsy women. I love gutsy women who are just fearless. And you said fearless. And that's the key word for us being women in the business is that you have to have no fear. It's male dominated and you always have to prove yourself constantly. So I think both great choices. I could go on and on and on. And just for bonus, I would say Beyonce. I love
Oh
Beyonce. I'm
yeah.
a big
Mhm.
I'm a part of the beehive. and One thing I can say about this woman is her superpower. When she gets on stage, she just transforms because
Mhm.
every artist, whether it may be Madonna, whether it may be Beyonce, they the longevity to be able to stand up there and dance in heels for hours, because that's one thing about being a woman in the
Yeah.
business is that you're always in heels.
Mhm.
And to be able to stand up and entertain and give a concert for over an hour, and you've got people all over the world, you're going to face so much scrutiny and all of these things, and it's just like, oh my god, everything has to be perfect. But Beyonce, hands down. That's my
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore right there, because these women have constantly had to prove themselves. So
Mhm.
yes. Hi, Stevie. Stevie Kenshin from our original magazine group, and working on something. And I look forward to chatting with you soon, Stevie. Welcome as you're coming in. Welcome, 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 y'all at Stevie in the chat. And shout outs to my brother K Tukes, host of the K Tukes Spot. Now, speaking of projects, Eliza, you are going to be a part of Martin Newsa's newest project, One
Yeah.
Night in Thrila, now in Rila. And I just had your co-star Jack on the show last week.
Hmm.
Now Ella's coming on tomorrow, so I'll be getting her take. It's amazing to close out Women's History Month with two amazing women, yourself, and then Ella. She'll be joining me tomorrow, so I'll be picking her brain and finding out her five on her Mount Rushmore as well too tomorrow. But what was it like being casted in this thriller? Because Jack, when I spoke with him about it, he said it's going to be a lot of things. He couldn't really give, and I know you can't really give a whole lot
Yeah.
away. But tell us a little bit about your character in this project.
So, just to kind of take it back, I was sat at Christmas with my family, having dinner, and that's when Martin kind of messaged me and said, "You know what? Like, I want you for the role." And I sat there and told my whole family, and everyone was so excited. So yeah, it feels like it's been a kind of long time coming, and I can't wait to start filming. But so my character Alice, she's she's great. I really like her, and it's been really interesting, kind of deep diving into her as a character and her backstory. So she is Ryan's brother. So Jack, you spoke to, he's my brother, and I think she's very much puts people first, and she doesn't think about her own feelings, which can be good, but that can also, hinder. You should always, for sure, um, back like we're talking about, back yourself and be self assured. And I think she finds that throughout the film, and she finds her feet, and she finds her confidence, she finds her power. Um, so yeah, there's definitely a journey with Alice, as we'll see, and she's very caring. She like adores her brother, and there's someone potentially that she fancies or maybe wants to rekindle things with, but she puts her brother first because family comes first in her eyes. So yeah, it's been really, really fun kind of discovering Alice as a character and also having my own spin on her. So I always think with acting, it's really important to have your own like take, whether that's something that you bring as a person, something you've experienced, something you've read, something you looked at, rather than just what someone tells you your character should be. Oh, here's the character, here's the backstory. Like, no, no, no. You need to envision it and become it with her, with your character.
And I'm so glad you said that, girl, because that's something that I always tell people all the time. If you're going to portray a character, you have, when, and I say this up to a lot of actors as well, it is important that you know to bring that character to life. When you're reading the script, and you're taking in everything this character's flaws, you're taking in all of this character, you're no
Hmm.
longer yourself. So when you're on set, you're having to put on this character's shoes and become this person. You're no longer yourself. I'm no longer Eliza, or Miss Eliza's not, she, but Miss Stevie is no longer Miss Stevie. Miss Stevie
Yeah.
is another character. So you're turning into a whole nother person, and you have to learn to separate the two. And it's called method acting, where you be able to turn it on and then turn it off.
Hmm.
And a lot of actors have trouble with that. Shout outs to my girl Faith is the Substance. Y'all go and check her out. She has a show coming pretty soon, and we're here with my girl Eliza. We're getting acquainted. We're chatting about the newest film, One Night in Rila, by Martin Nusa. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. And we're going to talk a little bit about the whole psychological thriller genre, because Jack we were going through talking about all of the classic thrillers from Scream and everything, and I'll be getting Eliza's take in a bit. But welcome as you're just coming in. Make sure y'all head on over and subscribe to my girl Faith is the Substance, and make sure you're sub to me as well too. Because if you're not, what are you doing, my darlings? Make
Mhm.
sure y'all hit that bell so you will be notified when new shows and interviews are live and posted. Okay, so we were talking about getting into that character and method acting. A lot of people, and Eliza, you already know who I'm going to say, and I'm pretty sure you've seen it in the UK where you're at. Heath Ledger as the Joker
Yes.
sent mail to some of his castmates' homes. May he rest in grace. But he really got into this
Mhm.
character. And it's just like, my God, like he really dived into portraying and becoming the Joker. Y'all know the whole
Mm,
process to becoming a character is you really have to study this person. Like, what are their quirks? What is it about them that makes them so unique and dynamic? And it's like you have the protagonist in the film and you have the antagonist. The antagonist, as we know, was the Joker. The protagonist, the hero, shall we say, was Batman. So, or Superman, or whom, or Wonder
mm,
Woman, whatever character you're portraying. But there's always going to be a villain, and sometimes we, the viewers, are curious to know, like, what makes this villain tick? What is it that makes this
mm,
character so evil? And I think that is what makes a great psychological thriller. So we're gonna dive into the whole category of psychological thrillers because this film here is a psychological thriller. We know Martin for doing period pieces, in Tenebras, which is a great piece, and you guys need to go and check it out. But this one here, this is different because this is a thriller. To see Martin tap into something that is different out of the norm because in psychological thrillers, we are always on the edge of our seats. We're like, okay, what's next? We're all head on swivel, like we have to turn and figure
yeah.
out what is going to be next. And speaking of psychological thrillers, Eliza, what were some, if you had to list three of your
Mhm.
favorite psychological thrillers, what would they be? I know for me, and I'll start first. One for
Yeah.
me, I would have to say that is a classic is Scream. And Scream
Mhm.
just came out with what is it? Scream 7. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Nev
Thanks.
Campbell is holding it down.
Mhm.
And you got Courtney Cox as well too. But Scream did it for me. It was
Mhm.
96, was what? The spring, summer of night, fall of 96. And Scream was a thing. So for you, what are your top three psychological films, Eliza?
That's such a tough one. But I mean, the first one that springs to mind is Shutter Island. So it's less kind of gory
Oh,
slasher, but it's definitely psychological. And I love films like that where you're constantly trying to guess what's the next step, what's going to happen, and then you get it wrong every time. And that's the best thing about these films is they, like you said, your head is constantly turning. You don't know who's who. You normally get it wrong with who you think the bad guy is. So yeah, Shutter Island's a good one. Um, what else have I seen that I love? Mm, I like it's a sinner, it's a sin, and it's with the vampires. It's a new one out, and it's that kind of old
Sinners.
period. Sinners,
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Sorry.
Sinners,
Yeah.
yes.
And that's just fantastic. Like the acting's great. I didn't see it coming. I
Oh,
didn't see the whole vampire thing happening at all. It just yeah. And I don't normally like vampire things, so yeah. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. It was a brilliant film. And then third one, oh, Silence of the Lambs. I think it's called Silence of the
Anthony
Lambs.
Hopkins.
It,
Okay, she did it, y'all. Girl, when I tell you Anthony Hopkins played that role, and you got Sigourney, is it Sigourney Weaver, y'all? Sigourney Weaver, she
Mhm,
really tapped into that. She really
mhm,
tapped into that. And then to see Anthony Hopkins again with Michelle Pfeiffer, I was telling Jack in the Wolf film to see
Mhm.
Michelle Pfeiffer, but it's like Michelle Pfeiffer, she makes anything sexy. It's like, okay, we've seen her in Scarface, we've seen her in all of these What Lies,
Yeah.
all of these other films, but it's like she makes it so sexy. At the end of Wolf, I can't give the ending away, but if you've seen it, Jodie Foster, thank you, Faith, for correcting me. I was thinking of Sigourney Weaver, but Jodie Foster really tapped into that. She really did. And
Mhm.
not only just her, but Michelle Pfeiffer as well too. Anthony Hopkins is just an amazing actor to really embody the mind of someone who is that demented. You really have to go there. And I can give you an example. You guys have seen Us by Jordan. Is it Us by Jordan Peele? With Lupita and Wango. And Lupita says she literally had to detox this character out of her. If you're playing someone that psycho, that crazy, like Eliza and I was just saying, you know, head on a swivel because you don't know. They're just like this, like calm, like how, very demure and
Mhm.
relaxed. And then they go and they just start. It's another film that I like as well too, and I should have added it to my list of psychological thrillers, and
Mhm.
that is Stepfather. Have y'all seen Stepfather? The actor, this was back in the late 80s. I want to say
Mhm.
there was a Stepfather 1 and then there was a Stepfather 2. And he was just
Okay.
so, whistling and all of these things. And I'm just like, oh, this man is crazy, nuts. If I had a stepfather, and then she
Mhm.
goes to I'll give it away. So I don't want to give no spoiler alerts over here, but y'all have to go and check it out. I think he's either stepdad or stepfather. And he was psycho. The gentleman who played, yeah, so y'all go and check that one out. So it's like a series. It's like Stepfather 1, Stepfather 2, and then Stepfather 3. So y'all go and check it out. But the key to making a great psychological thriller is you really have to go to that place because any the antagonist in any psychological thriller is making you as the person who is calm and to their, in their right mind, figure out like what is it that makes this person so evil. I mean, there are so many dark psychological thrillers out here that we've seen. You've got, as Eliza said, Silence on the Lamb. That's a test of time. But you've got Misery with Kathy Bates, and then Kathy Bates is playing Matlock years later. So I'm just like, how you go from being in misery to now wanting to help for the greater good? But see, that goes to show you that you're a great actor, that you're able to have range. And as an actor in this business, that's what it's all about, being able to showcase that range, being able to showcase your versatility and ability. And Martin, hats off to him for, creating such a great project in Tenebras, which is like a period piece. And I love documentaries. I love going back and studying history, but he goes through like a timeline in his work. So shout outs to Martin for this project.
Mhm.
I know it is going to be amazing. The Shining is a good one as well, too. Yep, with Jack Nicholson. Yes, indeed. Jack
Yeah.
Nicholson, Anthony Hopkins, all of them. And it's so many. And even the shows like The Twilight Zone. Shows like The Twilight Zone, shows like, and I couldn't remember when I did the interview with Jack, Eliza, it was Alfred Hitchcock. I'm like,
Okay.
mystery, suspense,
Mhm.
thriller, all of them tied together because we, the viewers, are sitting here in the theater. We're talking back to the screen, we're interacting. And that feeling is so amazing because it's like, oh, what's going to happen next? We're foreshadowing what's going to happen next, what's to come next, what is this person is going to do. Jeffrey Adomore, the series, if that's correct, saw it on Netflix. I'll check it out because I love suspense thrillers. Outer
Ooh.
Limits is a great one as well too. The Birds is
Yes.
definitely one.
Mhm.
Rosemary's Baby
Oh yeah.
with Mia Farrow.
Mm.
That's a classic as well too. That's if you like the whole horror psychological
Mhm.
genre. And I mean, that's a classic. You go all the way back in time with Vidal, and if you're a hair girl like I, shout outs to Vidal Sassoon for that signature cut on Mia Farrow. And then years later, we see Linda Evangelista, supermodel with the same haircut as well too. So I mean, trendsetter in her own right. But that's a great film, brother. Another great, y'all are calling them all off. It's so many. You've got Misery with Kathy Bates. You've got, oh, what's another? Now, I cannot I cannot remember the name of this. Natasha Henstridge in Species. Natasha
Mm,
Henstridge in Species. Like to be able to play a femme fatale, a woman, Michelle Pfeiffer's chef's kiss to her for being able to play a woman that is dangerous, and she's going around and she's getting innocent people as well too, but for Natasha Henstridge to transform into this character
mm,
and be able to morph back to herself. And it's like no care in the world. Again, psychological thrillers, mystery, action, they all go hand in hand because they leave people on
mhm,
the edge of their seats. As Eliza just mentioned with Sinners. Sinners, the vampires, they look like normal people at first. And then they shift. If you watch
mm.
shows like Buffy, I'm a big Buffy
Yeah,
fan. I love
Buffy.
Sarah Michelle Gellar. Buffy and Angel. It's like even with Angel, it's like, okay, is he good today or is he going to be bad? Because there were some episodes where he was bad. There were some episodes where she had to fight him, and then there were some episodes where he's trying to help her. So it's like, what are you going to get? But I want to say the final season of Buffy, I want to say what season 5, season 6, season 7. There was a
Mm,
character called the First, and they look how we're looking now, like they're your actual friend,
mm,
and then they turn around and they're evil. So they brought all of the characters that she fought and had to take out and every season back, and it was spinning. Jeffrey Dahmer, yes.
that's
Dahmer,
great.
yes. That
Mm,
who played him. Again, if you're doing a psychological thriller, or you're telling an actual story of something that happens, you
mm,
have to go back to that place. They're going to want you, because I've interviewed a lot of people who've done crime series, and they're saying going back to the place where the crime actually happened, or going back to a place where you had to reimagine this exactly how it happened. It's a mental thing, and then you
mm,
have to snap right back out of it. And a lot of actors, I come in and I take my hat off to them for being able to do it, because not a whole lot of actors are capable of doing that. You literally have to take breaks because it's a lot. It's overwhelming for you
mm,
to be able to tap to a space you've never been before. If you're used to doing comedies, or you know what's one of my favorite, okay, I'm gonna go with one of my favorites, like family, like drama comedies. Steel Magnolias with Julia Roberts. That's one of my favorites. And
mm,
I love Dolly Parton. I'm a big Dolly fan. So if you like things like that, if you're used to seeing that, then be used to seeing the character in another light, because they typecast a lot of actors in the business. Oh, well, you can just play the funny person all the time. And it's just like, nah, I want to show that I have depth.
mhm,
I want to show that I'm able to expand my horizons, or as we would say, taste buds in the acting world, because that's what it's all about, stepping outside of the norm, and even with psychological thrillers. So I just wanted to put that out there. But Eliza, what else can we, if you could describe this project, One Night in Rila, in one word, because you've shot it, she can't give a lot away, y'all, because I know y'all like, what's the film about? Follow Martin Noosa. Make sure you're following him. She can't give a
yeah.
whole lot away. But if you could describe it in one word, what would you want the viewers to know about it in one word?
Oh, that's such a great question. Um, hmm, 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 hmm. I think um, hmm, I kind of want to say uh, friendship, which is probably not what people are expecting. But then also mystery, because obviously it's a thriller, psychological thriller. But I think there are those kind of moments we were just talking about. There's some twists and turns and keeping people on their feet, and hopefully people won't expect what happens. So it's definitely exciting. So I hope people come and watch it. And I think actually, Miss Stevie, what you were saying before was really interesting, because I kind of wanted to like build on that in terms of being able to take yourself away from the character. And it's actually a really difficult thing to do if you fully kind of embody and become that character. It can be really difficult
Yes.
to step away. And I think that's where some actors suffer with like mental health. And so you have to be really, I think, protective of yourself and go to that place. But remember that it's a technique that I learned called that actor and the target, which is really interesting. So you basically imagine your character as the target. So you place your character as the target, you go to that place, and then you make sure you can step away. It's still really, really difficult. And I did a theatre show 2 years ago, and I had to play this mother that was an alcoholic, drug addict, wasn't very nice to her child. Her child says she's been abused. So it's quite like a dark piece, very dramatic. And I had to go there every single night to that terrible place. And I remember by like the end of the first week, my dad was like, "Do you want to go for dinner?" And I was like, "No, I just want to go home and watch like a comedy," because I it kind of got to me and I couldn't break away from it. And I think that taught me the importance of making sure that you step away at the end. Get that drink, see your friends, go do a boxing workout, whatever it will be. And that's really important.
I'm telling you, girl, you have to detox. Like playing a
Mm-hmm.
character that toxic, that evil, that dark. And then some of them you get mixed reactions from people. People will literally walk up to you and think that you're the character. And it's like, no, I'm no longer the character. I remember sitting down with a director and actor by the name of award-winning director and actor by the name of Terry T. Miles. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, "Must you play all of these evil characters? How do you do it so natural? How does it come to you?"
Mm-hmm.
And he said a group of women approached him outside of the club because in the film he was a womanizer. He played a womanizer in the film.
Right.
And he said a group of women walked up to him, was like, "Oh no, we can't stand you." And he was just like, "What I did?" And they were reciting the lines to him, Eliza. It was hilarious. And he just broke out laughing.
Mm-hmm.
But he understood the gist of it. But again, that means you're a great actor when you make the character so believable that it's hated. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, you have for your mental as the person, the individual person portraying this role, you have to go detox. You have to kind of shake it off, get it out of your system, and then go right back to set to do it the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And we see that on a lot of suspense shows. If you watched a lot of suspense or crime shows, I mean, Law and Order is one.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean, it's so many that we have grown up watching or that we're currently watching right now. And I think I'm probably going to binge watch some after my interview here with Eliza. She's put me onto something, and so did you guys. The Birds. I'm going to binge watch a bunch of mysteries and thrillers after my interview to prepare for this one because I'm excited. I can't wait. And again, congratulations to Martin on this masterpiece. I told him I'm not going to call your films. I call them masterpieces because it's like everything you've done in your career, you have stood the test of time and you have crafted it into what you wanted it to be, just like with Style by Stevie here, my platform. I said, this is my baby, and I birthed it. And it's became everything that I wanted to be. And as just like with the character, as a director or a writer, you're sitting there and you're writing this character, and it's just like, what do I want this character to be? Do I want it to be the antagonist or do I want it to be the protagonist? And you said the key thing you want people to take away from the film is friendship and also survival. In any psychological film, you're going to have to figure out survival. And especially even in horror films, too, it's like survival. You're running from the person who's causing the problem,
Mm-hmm.
but you all have to figure out a means and work with a plan together. So I hope you guys all take away from that in any film. Every film has a message, and even psychological thrillers, it has a message. It's like and it's a film I want y'all to check out. And it was about these group of kids who were outcast. It's also like a psychological thriller. These kids were fed up. They band together and they were working on getting revenge, and y'all know the rest. The film is called The Final, and it stars from the one of the kids from the Little Rascals. He's grown up in this film. I think it's is it Spanky? His name is Spanky. There's Spanky and then there's Alfalfa. Yes, Spanky. He plays in the film. The gentleman who did the Welch's grape juice commercial. He's grown up in the film and he plays in it. And these kids were bullied, they were picked on, they were teased, and they got revenge on the children who were taunting them throughout their school years. They're in high school. So things like this happen. And every film, and when we say every film, it has a story and a meaning. We can relate to it as some sort of way as the viewers, as the consumers, because we're sitting there and we're just like, okay, we've been through this, and we might know someone who's been through this. So that's why it's personal and deep to us. But yes, to shift gears here, speaking of superpowers and finding strength in friendship, Eliza, since it's International Women's History Month,
Mhm.
what would you say as a woman would be your superpower? Because as women, we all have something that makes us dynamic, something that makes us fierce, shall I say. What would you
Mhm.
say your superpower would be?
My superpower. Um, I wouldn't say it's like fierce, but I very caring. I'll always put other people first. Bit like my character, which is why I can take from it and take into it. But yeah, I just think it's really important to care for other people, be there for other people, because it comes back around. I mean, such a small thing yesterday. So I bumped into a new neighbor. I'd never met her before. She had something over her eye. I asked if she was okay. She said she'd had an eye op. So I took her number and I texted her saying, um, if you need like a food shop or anything, I can go get it for you. And then she last night dropped around a whole banana cake with flowers that she'd made me. Like people are just amazing, and I think just like the smallest gesture and like being kind goes a long way. So yeah, I'd say sometimes in my default, because you can get walked over, but I'm learning, learning when it's good and when it's bad. So yeah, I think kind, caring.
And that's with any woman. We inherit that nurturing spirit from our mothers. Our mothers
Mhm.
nurtured us and brought us into the world. And one thing my mom has taught me, I would say my superpower would be my strength, my ability to be able to, and it goes back to being fearless, what we talked about in the beginning of the show. The whole show today is focused on being fearless. And I would say having no fear, no fear at all. If there are points in your life where you do get scared, like I do cringe when I see a snake or a spider, I do cringe. But overall, I've learned to overcome your fear. You can't continue to live in fear.
Yeah,
And I think with a lot of us, we inherit something that is so powerful. It's magical. I can't describe the feeling where it's just like you get some sort of like courage. You say courage, and you're overcoming it. You're empowering other people to overcome whatever it is that they're scared of as well too. Like it's like because I have four brothers and I have
mhm,
two sisters, and we have a pretty big family,
yeah,
and each and every one of us have something that we are incredible at doing. And whether it may be learning, we would when we were younger, we would teach each other how to ride the bicycle or whatever it may be.
mm,
That's something. It's like I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm scared I'm gonna fall. But you're going to have that sibling there helping you, guiding you along the way. And I can remember helping my brother learning how to ride the bicycle,
mhm,
keeping him up because I was a little bit older than him at the time, and learning these things. So you never know if you don't step out on fear. So I would say my superpower would be my strength and just my awareness to be able to help other people. But that also, to add on to what Eliza just said, that nurturing spirit. You always want to help people,
yeah,
and you always want to give people advice on what direction they should go in. And kindness does go a long way. So I agree with you 100% on that, girl. And especially in this time, we all have to be gentle. You never know, a smile, uh, uh, just saying hello, how you doing? I'm a
yeah,
hugger. I love to give people hugs.
mhm,
So even a hug would brighten up someone's day. And shout outs to Christopher in the chat will always text me every day, Eliza, Miss Stevie, how you doing? With a good morning.
nice.
Have a
Mm,
fabulous day. Have a wonderful day. It's those little things that bring a smile and joy to each other. So My brother says this, that you have to be the joy and the sunshine in someone else's life, because we can be going through a period where we're not happy, and we just need a kind word and have a nice day, or how are you doing, or even are you okay, would
Mhm.
suffice. Writing someone a card. I remember purchasing my mom a vase. It's this beautiful vase, and it's like this beautiful Chinese design on it. It was hand painted. And she said, "Oh, you didn't have to do that." And they sent a beautiful thank you card that's got flowers on it. It's pink, like the little, I don't know what kind of, it's not hydrangeas, peonies. It had peonies
Okay.
all over the front of the card, and it was pink. And I kept it. And they wrote a nice little message in the card for me. "Thank you for your purchase. I hope this sends you and means you well." It was very
Mhm.
beautiful, and I kept it and I put it in my little tray. So it's those little things right there that mean something. So say it in a card, sending someone a card, a thank you, I love you, sending someone flowers. Those are nice things and nice gestures that you can do. As Eliza said, baking someone a cake. Now, I wouldn't say I'm the best baker, but I'm learning. My mom, I can
Don't worry, I'm a
cook.
terrible cook.
I am not a baker. I not by any means am I Duff Goldman or Gordon Ramsay. I'm neither
Yeah.
one.
Me
But
neither.
I'm a cook a little bit. But as
Mm.
far as desserts and pastries, I would rather have it custom made and then send it to them. If my grandmother, or my mom, something nice, something special like that.
Yeah.
Or you can get them a nice arrangement. They make arrangements that are edible. So I mean, it's all of these little things that you can, these little gestures that can brighten up someone's smile a day. I love perfumes. So I've gotten my mom hooked, and I spoil her. Eliza, when I tell you she has every bottle of Victoria's Secret and Chanel and all of
As she
this on
should.
her.
As she should.
Yes,
Mothers should be spoiled.
spoiled mother. And she's just like, "Stevie, you didn't have to do this." And I said, "Mama, if I get a box, you get a box." So I'm like Oprah, I'm buying perfume for everybody. You get a box, and you get a box, and you get a box. So I spoil not only myself, but I say, if I'm going to get a box, she's going to get a box as well too. So I always buy in doubles. And she just like, you are something else. You know that? That's what she was saying. And she just laughed and she shook her head. She just like, "You didn't have to do this for me." I said, "Mama, you deserve nice things." And all of our mothers do, and it's important that we pour into each other. I believe that if you pay it forward with the next person, kindness, paying it forward, you help the next person will help you. And my mother's always made so many sacrifices for me. Just the same with Eliza. She said with her mother, we both are close with them, and they have this understanding with us. And she, the way she shows that she cares and she loves me, yes, she'll write me notes and things, but she will also buy me things. Like my mom bought me this vanity box with the drawers on it with gold handles, and I can put my makeup and things in it. It's
Mhm.
very beautiful, and it's pink. And I said, "You must have been reading my mind." I said, "Who is this for?" And I'm thinking that she bought it for one of my aunt or somebody else. But she said, "No, that's for you." So she bought it for me, and I haven't filled it completely up, but I put little things in it here and there. So it's those little things that count, that help. But kindness goes a long way, to add on to what Eliza just said. But that is key. That is key. Also, what else do you think that people in the world need today for, to go a long way, Eliza? What gems would you give them?
Um, in terms of like advice, like what advice would I give people?
Yes, and
Yeah.
to women, because
And to
kindness,
women, yeah.
and we're in a business where it's cattiness,
Yeah.
where we're
Yeah.
always against each other. They think, oh, these women aren't going to get along, but it's just like it's the complete opposite.
Mm.
Now we just met today. Me and Eliza have been chatting throughout the week, but this is our first time meeting face to face,
Yeah.
and you guys are seeing it, and the chemistry is just, I don't know what it is. I
Mm.
click with people instantly, and I think it's because my energy is infectious.
Mhm.
It's in a good kind of way, not a bad kind of way.
No, it's great. Your
So
energy is
wanted to
great.
infectious and rub off on people.
Mm.
And it's just like, oh my God, that you instantly, when you first we click. But what advice would you give to people on just being kind or being gentle or a good word or anything?
I think it's really important to know yourself. And when you, like you were saying earlier, when you see someone and you just say hi, or even smile and walk past them, it's such a small gesture, but it means so much to people. And you don't know what's going on in their lives. Someone might barge past you or be rude, but you don't know what's happening. Even like getting on like a bus, I always say hi and I always say thank you. And I just think so many people just walk into a bus and, like, that person's doing their job, and there's no need to be rude. Like, be polite and say hi. So yeah, I think look out for other people, smile, and be confident. When we talk about the five, females that have inspired me, and the five females that inspired you, Miss Stevie, they're all confident and self-assured. And that doesn't mean confident like you're an extrovert and you're going to public speak in front of 300 people. It's just confidence in yourself, and you know who you are. I'm actually quite introverted as a person, but when I'm acting or kind of in my element and I'm with someone bouncing off that energy, like, I feel confident because I feel myself and assured. So yeah, know yourself, be kind. Yeah, and I think it comes back around. Be nice to other people, they'll be nice to you, and life is a lot better.
Absolutely. And the key word you said is confidence. In any part of your life, you have to have confidence and do it without fear. Because I know, as she said, the reference of speaking in front of people, a lot of us, even I've sat with so many actors and they told me, well, I started off doing my school play and I had to stand up. I was nervous and speak in front of my colleagues. And it is nerve wracking. Now that you're in your adult years, you're doing theater. You started in front of, doing it school plays or talent shows in front of your peers and the teachers and everybody. Everybody's out there so much judgment because it's just like you want it to be perfect. But overcoming fear and being confident is what makes you whole. You feel so whole after you've done it, after you've got it
Mm.
off of your chest. When you're going out on stage and you're performing, yes, you're going to get butterflies in your stomach. It's like, oh my God, I feel what is going to happen. This can either go one or two ways. I want it to just be right.
Yep, yep.
And a lot of us have that feeling. Your hands are kind of clammy, like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And you pull that curtain back and the spotlight is on you. You can't be nervous. Just let it
Mhm.
rip. Focus on that one thing. They'll say, imagine, your audience in your. And I'm like, I don't even want to picture that. My mom is out there. But the
Uh,
feeling, I know they say imagine something, but I take myself to another place
yeah.
when I'm nervous. I'm standing up in front of people, and I do it with confidence.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna use another reference. Shout outs to my colleague, Bubs the God. He said, I don't think I'm the, I stutter a lot. I stutter a lot, when I'm speaking, and I tease him for it a little bit. And I said he gets tongue tied, and it's like Sally sells seashells by the seashore,
Oh yeah.
and he gets tongue tied. And I kind of tease him about it, but
Mm.
overall, I said you did great. And he'll sometimes ask me for my critique, and I'll tell him you did great. And I've went back and I've watched some of his other work.
Mm.
Great host. He hosted a reunion. And Eliza, when I tell you, he brings his personality. He's very bubbly and goofy. And if we were all in the class right now, Eliza included, if we fashion dolls, y'all too, and Brother K Tooks can attest to this. You have that one student in class that will get you in trouble because he'll do something to make you laugh. That's Bubs.
That's
That is him for
it.
sure. And we call him our leprechaun. He will do
Mm.
certain things to make you laugh. And that's what you have to do to kind of shake off the
Mm.
goosebumps and the butterflies a little bit. You do something, you say a prayer, like every artist going on stage, even Lucille Ball, who I love, and I love me some Betty White from The Golden Girls is one of my favorite shows. You were either Rose, Blanche, Ma, or Dorothy, and I was probably Blanche. Out of all the girls, I was probably Blanche. But Betty White, even she got nervous, but she
Mm,
overcame her fear. You go back and you look at some of her older, like stand up, if you look at her in theater, if you look at all of this, she had to overcome it. And
yeah.
as an artist, you have to do it with confidence. Going in, this is not for the faint hearted to anybody that's looking to get into the acting or the hosting realm. I mean,
Mm,
it's not for the faint hearted. You got to come in with confidence. You can't be shy. And how I started with Style by Stevie was, it's so crazy you mentioned that, of being nervous. Uh, I had to stand up and recite the words of Shakespeare in front of the class. That was nerve wracking. And I'm like, why am I nervous? We see each other every day.
yeah.
And it was a Midsummer Night's Dream. And I can remember it word for word. How Shakespeare talks and how we talk and how me and Eliza are talking now. It's funny. The language is kind of funny. It's like, but we don't sound like this, but I scored, I think, at least a 90 on it. I passed.
Okay.
And remember that word for word. And each of my peers had to do the same thing. I'm like, why are we nervous? But
Yeah.
public speaking in high school sort of prepped me for doing Style by Stevie. And that's how I've overcome my fear. I know there's millions of people that are watching all over the world. And you're going to get opinions from all sides, but it is like you're doing great. You're doing good. Your speaking is just so eloquent and clear. We can understand it. And even with Mick, she'll sometimes say, go slow. You know, so I can understand. And I'm like, I don't mind doing that for you, boss lady. For you, absolutely. And I bow down and and I call her boss lady. She hates it, Eliza. But I'm just like,
Okay.
Mick, you are boss lady. You are boss lady because you
Mm,
have created a space for all of us to put from Stevie, who was in the chat earlier, to Martin, to Ena, to Ellen, all of us collectively to put our creativity in one big bowl together
mm,
and just mix it up and make magic. And that's what she did with this publication, which is Original Magazine UK. And if not that publication, then Love Hollywood USA. And I give my hat to Mick all the time for being able to create a space for us to share whatever it is that we love, which is the
yeah.
arts, which is film, which is music. So doing it with confidence, which is the key thing we're talking about now, it goes a long way. And you have to, they say confidence can be just like that, but no, it's a process to building up to your confidence, overcoming your fears,
Mm,
overcoming the thing that makes you uh, nervous. And I know for a lot of us, we have fears of stepping out, fear of losing, a fear of failing,
mm,
or as some would test them out. You're going to fall the first time, you're going to drop the first time. But if you remain confident, those wings will keep soaring all the way. You can now fly because you've got it, you become accustomed to it. And even me being interviewed when the shoe is on the foot, um, I get nervous because I'm like, I'm used to being the one, doing the interviewing. But when I go on someone else's platform, it's like I'm nervous. And I will tell the host that, and they're just like, not you nervous. This should be new to you. This shouldn't be new to you at all. You've been doing it for so long. And I'm like, yes, but yes, even some of the greats get nervous about going out on stage and performing. As
mm,
I've mentioned, uh, if you want to go all the way back in time, Fred Astaire, uh, who's another? Greta, uh, it's so many. I'm trying to think. We've got Veronica Lake. You've got Ginger Rogers. Ethel Waters. All of these amazing entertainers who have danced, who have given us their life, their
mm.
craft. They've gotten nervous because there's millions of people out there in the audience, and people criticize and scrutinize you if you don't
Yeah.
do great in your performance. But the key thing is to, like they said, take your mind to a space you've never been before. My ritual before doing and coming on, I always kind of pray. I have a Miley Cyrus and Erica Badu. They do this before they go out on stage. They have a candle they set an atmosphere, and I love candles. So
Yeah, I
I
love
always
candles.
try to set like an atmosphere where I'm okay. And I'm
Mm,
like, I got my questions I want to ask the guests. Now I can go on. And I'm just like, okay, let's do this. When I press that live button, boom, we got
boom.
it. And overall, it's been great. So you got to find a strategy. And
Yeah.
that was going to be my question that I wanted to ask you, Eliza. What is your self care ritual before going on stage or going on set? What do you do when it's downtime, when
Mhm.
you're rehearsing your lines on script?
So my favorite thing to do is lie on the floor with my knees up and make funny sounds and then breathe. And it just gets all of that nervous energy out of you. And I think making the funny sounds, you get over like being cool. You get over yourself because you're being stupid in front of all the people that are about to film you. Therefore, what's going to be more embarrassing than what you're doing right now? Rolling around on the floor. And then the other thing I do, which I love the candle idea. I love candles, so maybe I'm going to try that. But I put music in. I don't put music on that I would like. I put music in that I think my character would listen to, and I just close my eyes and I imagine that I'm in her bedroom and just kind of walking around the bedroom, looking at different things that are in her bedroom, objects, and that just slowly gets me kind of into the character. Or if I'm really, really nervous and I just need to get the energy out, I'll walk around the space, but doing the same thing. So listening, but walking around the space. But I think there's so many different methods that people use, like yoga or like doing a workout, um, meditating, praying, uh, writing down everything you're grateful for, anything that kind of takes your mind away, but not too far away that you're in character, um, is great. And I think what you kind of touched on earlier, Miss Stevie, is um, like people will criticize you. Like you're never going to be perfect. There's always going to be someone who doesn't like something, and that's okay. And not to take it personally. Like you can work on your craft, and also it's everyone's going to have different opinions, and that's good, and that's what makes the world great. So take the positives, take the constructive feedback, and do with it what you want. But um, I think it's good to fail as well. If I think how many times like I've failed acting so far, it's a lot. But every single time I've learnt from it. Um, and yeah, I had one director who I mean, I was completely in my head throughout the whole performance, and he said at the end, what were you doing?" And he didn't have to say anything else because I knew from his face that it was not a good performance. And it was only a trial kind of performance run with like a couple of family and friends, but still I was annoyed at myself, and it was good because I went away that night and I reflected, and I went to a boxing class the next morning to get out my frustration. And then I got back up and was confident and fearless and all the things that we were talking about. So yeah, but I think it's just important to find your thing. And I think everyone's thing will be different that gets rid of those nerves. And nerves are good as well. You're never going to get rid of them fully. Your character will be nervous, probably in that moment. So you use that as well. But yeah.
Absolutely. And to anybody that's gonna be on set, but you with your peers. I remember I did a horror film back in 2022. It's called The Assistant to Reconnected, and you guys can look it up here on YT on YouTube. And I got the role on my birthday. And little did I know going into this role, because I have no acting experience. Like I said, I look up to the women that have come before me, like the Lucille Balls, like the Betty Whites, like the Diane Carrolls, all of these amazing women who came before me. And I was like, okay, if you're going to do acting, you have to study them. You have to make sure that you're on top of this, know your lines. My other peers that were in the film with me, because it was we're coming out of the height of the pandemic, everything was social distance. And I had to portray a college professor. So he told me, he said, we're going to cut your hair for the role. Eliza, you know how we as women are about our hair and changing our look.
I would hate
I said, what?
that.
I said, what you gonna do? I was like, I took a deep breath and I'm like, okay, all right, okay. He said, and he told me the reason why. He said, I didn't want you to look like one of the students. So I went in
Really?
and came in with Short Pixie. You guys have seen it. And I said, you know what? This is it. He picked the whole look for her out. And he
Mm,
said, I want you to look like an distinguished college professor. And she just like my personality, fearless, no nonsense, straightforward, and straight to the point. And me and my co-star Roman in the film had a little exchange. So I'm
mm,
like, this is easy. I want to do more of this. I want to do more acting. At the table read, nailed it. It was amazing.
yeah.
Now I learned about scripts. He emailed me the script and everything, and I went over it and I kept rehearsing it. And then the day we shot the film, what was so funny is on set, people don't know while you're on set filming, a
Mm,
little bit behind the scenes, BTS, and you're shooting the line. Sometimes you can read over the next person's line.
yeah.
Eliza, when I tell you I was dying, some of the cast members, after I shot my scene now, and I'm sitting back, I done did my take. It took one take for me because I had the classroom scene. They were reading over each other's lines. I was dying, girl. It was hilarious. I said, if only the viewers of the film could see this. But things like that happen. It happens.
Yeah.
So, you got the table read and then you have the actual day that you shoot
Mhm,
the film, and it turned out perfectly. You couldn't really tell, but behind the scenes, it was hilarious. I told the director, you need to do a bloopers, record that and save that for your bloopers so that people can see it.
mm,
But the film came together perfectly. And in the midst of the pandemic, everything was virtual, but it came together. And he shot that on his phone and it came together. I was like, and you did this all within the given time of
mm,
everything that is going on around us. You have to make it work. So, stepping outside of your norm, outside of your comfort zone, being comfortable to work with people, yes, who are skilled, who know, who can walk you through it. And
mm,
they've done this before. Me, I came in with no acting experience, and I came in, and it was like a walk in the park. He
yeah.
said, "We're going to use a little bit of your personality," and it goes back to what you made me think about what you said in the beginning of our conversation, which is bring a little bit of your personality to the character. And just like I'm spunky and
Mhm,
I'm fun and adventurous and bubbly and outgoing and all of these things, she was too, but she was also very stern. She was strict.
mm,
She is about keeping things in order. And as well as I to certain aspects in my life. But you have to learn to turn it on. Again, back to method acting, turn it on and then turn it off. But she is a memorable character, and I'm happy that I played in that film. He offered it to me on my birthday, and I took it. He was
mhm,
like, "It's I'm gonna write a part for you," and I was just like, "You gonna write a part for me? What?" But that's when he told me I had to have short hair for the film, and I said, "Oh, okay." And here I am with like all of this long hair going down my back. It was my birthday. And I'm like,
love
I,
it.
I just want to have fun. I want to celebrate and everything. But hey, it also taught me, this role also taught me the power of transformation. If you work in the fashion world, be prepared to transform your look. Your look is not going to stay the same.
Mm,
And that's what I've learned throughout these years as well too. So that got me comfortable to step out of my comfort zone to be able to change up my look and experiment with different things. Just like as an actor, you have to be willing to step out of your comfort zone and do roles that are uncomfortable for you. And you know, yes, you can be the good guy. We're used to seeing the good guy, but also tap into that antagonist side, make people hate you and be like, "Ooh, your character was grimy, it was scandalous, it was all of these things." Like it was very sinister. And I think of Timothy Oliphant. We see him playing a cop on a show. Was it just what's the show? Justified. That was the show he played
mm,
on. And then we see him in Scream as the perpetrator. He's
yeah.
helping his mom out. I'm just like, oh my God, Scream 2. If you guys seen it, he was the perpetrator in that film.
Mm,
So that was a plot twist that I was not expecting at all. The reporter is his mother, and that was his brother. So in any psychological thriller, there's going to be a plot twist. So you guys stay tuned for that. Now, We are now coming to the conclusion of our conversation. This has been so great, Fashion Dolls, and I hope you guys have all enjoyed it. We have went an hour over with Eliza here. And I think my interview with Jack was the same amount of time as well too. But this is what we get when we are deeply engaged in the craft and it's
Mm.
something that you're passionate about. So as we're coming to our close, Eliza, what gems would you give to women on just being confident? Because it's a quote, and I'm going to give you guys the final thought, and I'm going to let Eliza give her a thought as well too. It's a quote from Paris Hilton, and I love Paris Hilton. She
Yeah.
says, "Sexiest thing that a woman can have is confidence." What
Mm.
top five things would you give to women on being confident and just standing true in who they are? What gems would you give to women?
Um, I think what we were talking about earlier, so being self-assured, like know who you are as a person and don't be afraid of it. Fearless, fearless, have, you know, have courage and like who you want to be, and don't be afraid to speak, your mind and have your passions. I think when we were talking earlier about, women and empowerment, so empower other people. I think if you empower people, they'll empower you back. Like we're talking about this energy, like you've got amazing energy, Miss Stevie, and it just makes people adore you and bounce off that person. And it's a really hard skill set to have. It's a really hard person. Like not many people have that energy. So, hats off to you. Things like something like that is amazing. And then probably final thing is like sexy. Be sexy. However your sexy is, be sexy. I think um, you know, when I say I feel sexy is when I feel confident. That doesn't necessarily mean like, physically sexy, but you just you feel like, yeah, women power. Like we go get it. And I think it is a really tough industry, entertainment industry, not just acting, fashion, all of it, to be a female. And I think we need to back each other and support each other and not be against each other. Um, and yeah, I think it's slowly moving in that direction. I think more and more people are being supportive. But yeah, so being courageous, confident, empowerment, um, and yeah, love thy neighbor, that kind of thing. Yeah. But thank you so much for having me. It's been great. So kisses to you.
You too, girl, and I'm definitely gonna bring you back for some more girl chat here in the
Yeah,
dollhouse.
would love
So
to.
this will not be the last you guys will see of Eliza. I am going to bring her back to the dollhouse and let everyone know where they can follow you and check you out.
Awesome. So you can follow me on Instagram, Soph Boyce. But yeah, thank you so much. Thanks everyone for listening in, and thank you, Miss Stevie. Mwah.
You are so welcome, mwah, girl, and I will see you. I'm gonna chat with you. I'm gonna send you those dates for the next shows, and we
Mhm.
have your co-star coming on tomorrow, Ella Knight. So the
Yeah,
reminders up. Make sure you guys go and hit that bell, and
yeah,
we will
she's fab.
continue on. I can't wait to chat with her. So we're gonna chat with Ella tomorrow. I love you all, fashion dolls, and till next time, I will see you guys tomorrow here on Style by Stevie. And for my ladies, stay fierce, stay fabulous, stay confident this Women's History Month. So we're gonna close out with Ella tomorrow, and I'll see you then. Till next time, fashion dolls.